It is cold out. It's below freezing, and as you can see, yeah, just snow all over the place. Dude, that walk over here was so long, and there was so much more snow than I thought. Dude, just walking down the fairway, my shoes are already filled with snow. There's a reason I'm the only person here right now. It is so cold. The wind picked up, and I am just dying out here. Man, I just walked all the way up the hill. Ow! Ow! My face is starting to feel numb. Just like my cheeks are getting tight. I am certifiably freezing at this point. I definitely should have wore a winter hat. Oh. So I haven't really been out to the course much in the winter. And we got a little bit of snow recently. It's warmed up a little bit, so it's kind of slushy, but just look at this. It honestly looks so cool. I'm really not a fan of there being snow everywhere, but it certainly looks cool. I'm ready for it to warm up a little bit though. All right, I was actually gonna walk over to hole 5 to start this video, but I guess I'll do it here at hole 1 since hole 5's all the way over there. And I don't feel like walking all the way over there. Plus we can warm up on hole 1 a little bit here from the red. So I have been looking for a mid-range in between my Hex and my Pyro for some time. I've been a big fan of the MVP mid-ranges for the past year, and the flight numbers on the Pyro are 5, 4, 0, 2.5. The 2.5 could almost be a 3, kind of depending. This one is a Prism Pyro. It's pretty flat, pretty overstable, and certainly flies like it's a 0.3 instead of a 0.2.5. And the Hex is a, I believe, 5.5 minus 1.1, kind of that classic straight flying mid-range numbers. So there's a bit of difference between these two. The Hex totally has that -1 where it kind of goes right a little bit and then comes back out and fades out for right-handed backhand. The Pyro definitely is flat and really likes to dump out pretty good. Really great forehand disc, but I really want something in between that doesn't get that little bit of turn, but it does have that little bit of fade at the end, but also doesn't dump out super early. Like I want it to fly really straight and then just get that fade, because I found that the Hex, it would just kind of turn over in a headwind or turn too much on me sometimes, or just have too much movement, and the Pyro would just dump out too far when I want it to go dead straight for a while, especially on like shots where I'm trying to hit a tunnel shot. So I've been looking for a disc that had that kind of flight characteristic, maybe somewhere like a 0.1 or a 0.2, right? I don't want that -1 in there, and I kind of want that 1 or 2 fade, not that like 2.5 to 3. And so there are a lot of options, but I decided to go with one after a little bit of research. That is the Latitude 64 Trust 5502. I've thrown it a little bit before this video. I actually threw it in a previous video one time, but I hid the front of it. Oh, that flies so nice. And it seems to fly kind of how I want it to, but I mean, this isn't the best conditions to be testing this out, but certainly I can get a feel for if it really is that nice spot in between those two discs. Interestingly enough, MVP is coming out with a balance. I have the prototype one, which pretty much flies like a Pyro, but I think they're trying to get a little bit more in a different direction. Maybe that was a little too stable. And then we have the Glacier from Discmania that also is kind of like that straight to slightly overstable mid-range. So we might have some competition to put this up against once those come out. So definitely look out for those. But for now, I'm feeling like this is gonna make the bag. I wanna come out here and verify that. I wanna do some comparisons and just kind of throw it around a little bit on a couple of holes out here. And it's, you know, 28 degrees out, not super windy, not raining or snowing, so good time to get out a little bit, even though it is kind of freaking cold. Kind of got a wide open hole here. I'm not really super trying to park it or anything. I'm just gonna throw a backhand with each of one of the discs to kind of see what the differences are. We have a little bit of a tailwind, kind of pushing left to right like a tiny bit, and the tee pad is pretty icy, but the end seems to be okay. I'll try not to fall and hurt myself. All right, so let's see that reliably overstable flight of the Pyro that we all know and love. See, it starts to dump out pretty early. It went pretty straight, but you could kind of see how it wanted to get onto that hyzer angle pretty quickly. Now the Hex, I'm gonna try and throw it pretty much the same. We should see a little bit of right movement on it. See it kind of drift right a little bit. I maybe put on a little bit more hyzer. dumped out to about the same spot. Tailwind maybe stopped it from pushing right. And then we have the Trust, which should be relatively somewhere in between those two. Threw it a little high. But look at that, just glides straight, never really flips up. Oh, hits metal. And yeah, it's a pretty good first throw for the video with that disc, huh? Yeah, pretty much just kind of pushes, doesn't really flip up, pushes, and then just kind of fades a little bit at the end, but it's very straight flying, definitely holds the torque. I don't know if it can hold forehands very well. Maybe we'll try that out a little bit today, but yeah, pretty good. Let's head over to the hole I actually wanted to play and give it a couple holes to try out. Whenever I'm coming to the course and it's like, I know it's gonna be cold out, I always put all my layers on in the car and like turn the heat up pretty high to like try to get my body as warm as possible so I could be like somewhat warm on the course. And every time within 10 minutes of being out of the car, I'm just so much colder than I expected. Then usually within like 15, 20 minutes of playing, it gets a little bit warmer because I'm moving around a little bit. So hopefully that's the case here. It is cold out. It's below freezing. And as you can see, yeah, just snow all over the place. Dude, that walk over here was so long and there was so much more snow than I thought. Got a lot in my shoes just because I'm like stepping in actually 3-4 inches of snow at some spots. And it's not like the fluffy stuff you can kind of just walk through. It's like that thick crystallized snow that just kind of pops up and gets into your shoes or your boots. I personally hate playing disc golf in boots, so I guess I'll just suffer through it. Well, after that walk, I definitely don't want to throw multiple discs, and these tee pads are freaking icy, man. So I think I'll just throw the Trust on the rest of these holes. We kind of got the comparison already. We all know how those discs fly, at least I do. So we got a par 4 from the Reds here, hole 5. It's only like 400 something. It's 430. Pretty sure I've eagled it from the Reds before. We're going back at the headwind here. It's a little bit uphill, so should be able to easily get there in 2. Give this thing a little bit of a rip. We'll definitely down tempo on it because, yeah, the whole front of this tee pad is completely covered in ice, and there's a legit like old broomstick over there, so that's the only thing I can clear it off with. I think there's just enough traction that I won't hurt myself. Look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I gave it a little bit of angle, kind of drifted forward. I even put a little nose up, but it just stayed straight and then just dumped out at the very end. Such a good disc. I know what the hex, I knew sometimes it would flip over. It was a little bit more susceptible to like changes in the angle, the hyzer angle, where I think that is gonna just go straight on like a lot of angles. It has a big tolerance for what it can hold, the same angle on the whole flight. Dude, just walking down the fairway, my shoes are already filled with snow. Not a good look. There's a reason I'm the only person here right now. We'll try and give it a little forehand. Just like a light forehand. I know sometimes mid-ranges, especially ones that aren't as overstable, this one has a bit of a dome to it, so, you know, with the dome and like the angle, the profile on the edge, I don't know if it's gonna come off clean. So it could be pretty fluttery, but we'll try and give it just like a little forehand hyzer. Yeah, very fluttery. Definitely not a forehand disc. I tried to just give it hyzer and it kind of just, I know Big Jerm was talking about that with the MVP mid-ranges when he's talking about forehand discs. He was talking about it in the Tour Life podcast about how some mid-ranges just can't be forehanded. I think that's one of them, but I wasn't really getting it for a forehand mid-range anyways. You know what? I'll try putting with this thing, why not? Hey, pretty bad. Okay, this could actually be a pretty good test for this guy right here. I think this is not that far, maybe like somewhere in the 250 range. So in the normal conditions, probably normally we'll go putter, but here, maybe mid-range is the play. I kind of have to throw it into a headwind here, keep it straight so it doesn't fade out too far left, and just go all the way to the pin. But I can't flex it because there's kind of those low limbs on the right side that are taking that away. So I really just have to get it going dead straight into the headwind. So kind of a tough task, maybe could be done by this disc. A little high and probably too far. Oh, I think that's putting. A little high, but I got a good tree on the end. Look at that. That's pretty good. It is so cold. The wind picked up and I am just dying out here. I definitely should have wore a winter hat. Oh, on to the next one. I wanted to play the blue here, but I guess that's not an option. You can see a little bit that that tee pad is brushed away, but this one is completely submerged. Man, I just walked all the way from hole, what was it, 6 or 7, up the hill, and then hole 12 now. That was a hike. I was gonna play a couple of holes on the way there, but it looks like a lot of them aren't cleared off and I wouldn't even know where to begin looking for them. But it looks like this one has a little bit of space to plant and I can actually see where it is. The front is still covered in ice, clearly because people played it when the snow had just come down. But I think if I plant just off to the side over here, there's some turf with no ice on it. Got a downhill, 325, kind of short for this disc, considering it's a little bit downhill. But I think if I can like control the tempo a little bit and let it dig into the snow, because it's not gonna skip very far, I don't think. This should be actually a pretty good disc for this hole. I'm gonna try and keep it low. I've thrown it a little bit high, a little nose up on the last couple throws, probably because I'm planting in the ice and snow and I'm also extremely tired. This is probably the best workout I've gotten all off season. And I'm also realizing the one spot where I can plant is the worst spot because it's cutting me off to the Mando more, but I'm still gonna do it. Oh, what the heck? Ow. Ow. That was a good throw, but I've never done that before. I was doing my X step and I pulled my heel into my shin. Oh my goodness. This is why I don't play in the snow very often. It's just not a good environment for really anything disc golf related at all, except for maybe having fun if you're just messing around. I'm now injuring myself. Oh, I didn't realize the wind was gonna pick up like this. My face is starting to feel numb, just like my cheeks are getting tight. So let's go for a long putt with the mid-range into the stiff headwind. It's freezing my face off. Oh, too much. It was a good run though. I was gonna show you the feels like temperature because I'm sure it's like 10 degrees or something with the wind chill. And then I realized I left my phone in my car. So I hope no one's trying to get a hold of me right now. I am certifiably freezing at this point, and I think I've successfully shown that this disc is pretty good. Maybe we'll get a better comparison at some other point when the conditions are slightly better. I don't really want to be out here much longer, and I want to just wrap this video up because I am getting extremely cold and the wind is gonna keep getting worse. Let's end this video with one more bad decision. We're gonna play hole 13. That's the over the water hole. I'm sure you've seen many times if you watch this channel for long enough. I think it's somewhere within the 350 to 400 range from here to get to the basket. Certainly doable with this mid, but the end of the tee pad is super icy. Although I think the entire water area is like totally ice, so I shouldn't have to worry about losing my disc. Anyway, I'm gonna actually try and throw it a little bit hard, try not to hurt myself, and hopefully we can clear the water. And we got a little bit of a headwind too, so this is a really good idea. I definitely slipped a bunch. Well, I didn't go anywhere near the basket, but I did clear it. And that's good enough for me. I'm ending it there. Go to OTB Disc, use my coupon code. Go to my website, tylertd.com. Get a mystery box, support me, help me tour, and make videos and all that good stuff. That disc is cool. It's definitely going in my bag. If you have a suggestion to put it up against so I can make a better version of this video and maybe find an even better mid-range to fit that slot in my bag, please let me know. I will certainly review the new Prototype Balance and the Glacier when I can get my hands on them, because it seems like they'll also fit that slot pretty well. But oh my God, my face is so cold. I'll see you next time. Peace.